So in case anybody tries to say something or put in comments or anything, we can see your comments hopefully. All right, we're going live because someone came into my store while I'm here and introduced herself to me. So I said, hey, let's go live. So before I introduce who she is, let me just give a shout out to a couple of people. Today, I got a chance to go and teach Hebrew. So I want to give a shout out to my very favorite seminarian students over in Arlington, Texas. And hopefully they learned a little bit of Hebrew. We had some fun this morning. They was looking at me cross-eyed at first. But after about 30 minutes into class, they were like, okay, I think we can roll with her just a little bit. So I want to give a shout out to all of my seminarian students, to Dr. Holly, who does an amazing job with her classes and her program. Their graduation is scheduled for August. So I'm going to celebrate and salute them in advance because I know you're going to do everything you need to do to graduate. So I'm excited to them for that. So I wanted to give a quick shout out to the seminarian students. All right, so now we have this wonderful, amazing sister who is all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada, y'all. She came in for a graduation, and while she was here, she said, you know what, I'm going to just try to connect to local bookstores. So she walked up in here in this heat, and I told her she was like she ran up in here because she was flustered, and gave her some water, and she introduced herself. And so I said, well, hey, let's go live. Let's put you on the map, and so we are doing that now. Her name is Latasha Walker. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
All right, there it is.
Yes.
So she just released her book. Isn't that a gorgeous book? You know, I'm always, I love color. Orange is one of my favorite colors, or peach orange, whatever it is. I love that color. So you can see orange kind of all in the bookstore, right?
Yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
I see it.
So I'm not lying. That's one of my favorite colors. I have several favorite colors. Orange happens to be one of them. So Latasha, before we get into your book, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about your book.
Yes.
All right, so there they are. They're listening to you.
Yes, so I am I'm moving into clinical therapy. So I'm a clinical therapist intern currently. I was a school counselor for many years. So that led me on my journey. I saw myself in my students, and they showed me that I needed to heal right along with them. So that's the beginning of it. So I do therapy. I'm also a yoga instructor. And one of my purposes is to help other people find their purpose, which is what I've gathered from this journey that I started on.
Right.
So
I love that. I love that. So she's worked with students. We talked about education. She asked me if I was an educator, and I am. And we said, of course, those of you who are educators like me, you know, once an educator, always an educator. We always teach them something, baby.
right.
So counseling, so important today. I can say that because our students, they need some Jesus, they need some counseling, they need hugs and loves, they need a lot that they need a lot. I was just, I can't go into deep conversation, but I was just talking with someone about a situation that happened with a young man and in the family, and unfortunately, because of the scenario that happened, you know, it was a very traumatic situation at the end. And it's just because our young people need counseling. They're TikToking and upset about what's posted on TikTok, who likes what, who follows who, all of those types of things. And these are young ladies, typically young ladies who are at the age of 14, 15, 16 years old. They're like 8th graders, 9th graders, 10th graders, sophomores. And they grew up on TikTok because it's what became popular and prevalent during the COVID era, right? COVID happened, time stopped, everybody was pushed to stay at home, required and demanded and commanded to stay at home. Social media took over, and TikTok became a very popular app at the time. It was fun, but typically what becomes fun can become dangerous. It's like if you have too much sugar, not a good thing. You know, too much ice cream, not a good thing. So, and young people don't know how to regulate that. I wasn't a good regulator when I was a teenager, right?
No.
And so, right, not one. So we need counseling. So talk to us about your book, because your book was just launched, but it looks like you put this together right before COVID.
I did.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
So what made you decide to put this together?
So I just felt I had some tools and I had resources that other people needed. So I know there was a lot of, including my students, I kept coming across people who would have this issue of they had an absent parent in their lives.
Right.
And especially, for me, my experience was the absence of my father. And so the more I continued to work on myself, I realized that this was actually part of my mission, was to help people heal specifically from the absent parent dynamic.
Yes.
So that is what really inspired me. Had I not been a school counselor, I don't think I would have been inspired to actually complete this book. But I know so many people need it.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you why that's interesting. I'm teaching summer school, and I was talking to somebody who works there with me as well, and they were just talking about how it has gotten so bad. And so they asked me why. And I said, well, there are a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons I believe contributes towards this is because there's a lack of a father at home. So his statement was, well, I didn't grow up with my dad, but I turned out okay. And I said, yes. But did your mom grow up with her dad? And he said, yes. I said, we're in a generation of a fatherless home 2 generations deep. Therefore, there is an even greater negative impact. It's one thing to have one generation of lack of fathers, because at least that single parent has a recall or a point of reference of what it's like to have a dad, so they can, to some way, negotiate with that mindset, versus a person who was not raised with their father.
That makes sense.
Now having children without a father or a man in the home, so now you have another generation of kids who are raised without a man in the home. So now you don't have just one generation, you have 2 generations. And so the second generation doesn't have a recall button or point of reference with a man in the home.
Right.
So therefore, because a man commands presence. And y'all can say what you want to all you people who are all about women's lib and all that kind of stuff, howsoever, whatever. And I'm a mother of sons. And I'm all about women and strength and all that.
Right.
But there is something about, I remember my father's presence made a huge difference. And I love my mom, and my mom was strong. When my father said something, it was a huge type of different presence and respect and reference. As a matter of fact, my sister and I were just talking about this. If somebody said something out of line, even to my mom, we knew it wasn't my mother we had to deal with. We knew my dad, we had hell to pay. My dad did not play at all. So you have these sons and daughters who are raised in a single parent household by parents who were raised in a single parent household. So now you have 2 generations at least, not the most, some are 3 on the 3rd level of having no men in the home consistently in their life. No model. So there is no recall button, because we can't go by what we see on television. We can't go by what we see on social media. Now, we do have coaches still in place, so thank God for certain things in life that can help negotiate that, but still, as it relates to consistency and existence, you're running into a couple of generations that lack men, their dads. So I'm talking to you dads who are dads. And I know it's difficult with us moms, because we could be trippish. I know we can. But it is so important to have men to step up and step in and do what you have to step up and step in. Even if you're having resistance. Maybe you have to go legal. Maybe you have to do something. But if there's a soft way of doing it, try the soft way. Sometimes you can be, sometimes women want you to be there, and if there are no stipulations, just be there.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not all that. Sometimes you tripping as dudes and as dads, you out there being extra. So whoever it is, however it is, and maybe to moms, there's got to be some way where both the fathers and the mothers can coexist in the children's lives consistently, right? That's so very, very important.
So important.
Yes. So let's talk about your situation and the book that you wrote.
Yes, so my situation, my father was absent from my life. And for, I've only physically been to Spread maybe a few times.
Okay.
So, but for me, the positive part of this, so it's not a book about male fashion. It is
Right.
a book about women's empowerment, though.
Yes.
I will say that. So, it is an adult nonfiction book.
Yes.
There are some sensitive topics in there, as I refer to trauma. However, the positive side, I try to keep it positive because I did have somebody step up and fill that role for
That's
me.
good.
Yes. So I was fortunate in that respect, and he became the person that is still, this is the person I know as a father.
Yes,
So
you
I include pictures of him, and I talk about our relationship
Right.
and the importance of men stepping up,
Yes.
or women, whatever role that you're
Right.
filling, but stepping up and trying to fill that void for
Yes.
the child, because it does. It shapes the person that they become.
Right.
So without him, without my pops, as I call him, stepping in, I don't know where I would be and who I would be. So it is important.
Yeah.
But I'm super grateful for that. But it doesn't mean that I did not need to heal from my situation with my biological father. So I definitely need to go back and dig deeper and go back to the very first relationship, which is the foundation between your parents. That's the beginning.
Right.
So that's where you start when you want to heal.
Yeah, I love that. So, and she's walking perfect timing because next week is Father's Day, which just happens to be Juneteenth celebration and everything else that is celebrated.
Oh.
But, oh my goodness. So we're sandwiching the celebration of men. And I've been posting just different posts that I've seen to celebrate men because when I had an amazing father, those who know me know I love my dad. I was blessed to have amazing parents, both my mother and my father in my life. So until my father passed away as an adult. So I have been blessed for that. My oldest son is a father of two sons. So I have two sons, but I have two grandsons. My oldest son is a father of two sons, yes. And he always says, nobody cares about the dads. I'm like, well, please, we care about the dads.
Right.
He always
Yes,
agrees
we
that.
do.
But
Yes, we do.
to say that when I see men step up and step in without being prodded to do it, without
Yes.
being begged to do it, just the little things, just the little things. Children don't require as much as people think, but just a phone call, just a text message, just to take them out for donuts, take them out for ice cream. I remember times when my dad, as I was an adult, he would just text and say, hey daughter, how you doing? Meet me over here for ice cream. Or just little simple things. It didn't take a lot, but it took genuine care where we went and we talked. He gave me wisdom that I could never get from my mom.
Right.
And vice versa. There are things my mom gave me, my dad could never give me. But as it relates to the month of June and Father's Day month, I like to consider it Father's Day month,
Yes.
the whole month of June.
Yes.
Fathers matter. So I don't know if you don't understand that as men,
do.
but you matter. And you talked about, which is interesting, you did have a man that stepped up.
Correct.
But even with that, it was still important for you to connect the dots to your biological father, right?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
very important that I healed from that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there was a distance
Yes.
between me and my pops, as I call him. So we moved across country. So, for my teenage years,
Yes.
it's different when someone is in the home. And
Yes.
he was always, all the way across the country.
Yes.
So for those pivotal years of my life, I did not have a father in the home.
Yes.
And so people didn't travel and do stuff like they do
Yeah,
now.
right.
So it was, and back then, long distance, you have to pay for long distance.
It's real
calls.
long distance.
So,
Yes. I remember that.
right. So, we didn't get to talk as much. We definitely became closer as I became an adult.
Yes.
So, but yes, it is so important. And like I say, I saw it in my students, and I saw it in myself, and I'm like, I have to heal from this. I have to face this and recognize how it's impacted my relationships,
Right.
and so on and so forth.
Okay.
So yoga also helped me do that.
Okay. Fantastic. I love it.
Yes.
All right. So how do we get a copy of your book? Talk
Yes,
about
so on my
promote.
website, okay, so purposetoheal.com. Right now I'm selling on my website. I'm trying to draw people to my blog, so
Okay.
I also have emotional wellness tips on my blog, so that is a place to purchase my book as of right now.
All right. So this is what we're doing. So she said, what can I do to get it in your bookstore? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to post the link
Okay.
from my website to your website.
Okay.
Would that work?
That works.
I have your book.
We
This
can
is
start
the
there.
gift you gave me as a gift, right?
Yes. We can start there.
All right, and then what I'll do is link this on my website.
Sounds good.
Therefore, you guys go support the sister, and she is celebrating healing, and this is
Yes.
important. Okay, if you are a daughter who was not raised by your father, this is probably a very good book for you to read, to help you to heal that broken heart. That's also important if you are a daughter who is not raised by her dad and you are raising sons. Yes, or daughters. Let me say this: if you are a parent, especially if you are a single parent,
Yes.
and you were raised by a single parent,
Yes.
yeah, you might want to start here so that you can find your way and your pathway down towards healing. That's going to be very, very important, because sometimes when we go through things in life, we unfortunately subconsciously place those things on our children, which transfers from our children to our children's children, right? So, and you may have some hurt that you weren't aware of, and you need to have some healing that you don't recognize. So this is a very good book to read. Again,
Yes.
Distance to Mercy is the title of the book.
Yes.
A Fatherless Woman's Journey to Truth, Healing, and Purpose Through Yoga and Spirituality. Latasha Walker is the author of this wonderful book. Can you provide them with your website one more time?
Yes, it is Purpose, PURPOSE, TO, Heal, HEAL, purposetoheal.com.
All right, so now, someone asks, how can I get my book into your bookstore? So we do have a lot of books here. What I try to do is now to support independent authors, we're looking at different ways to do it, because what I don't like to do is waste people's money and time. So typically this does cost a little something, but I also like to give up and giver. And we're working on projects to be very supportive of independent authors. We don't want to waste people's money and time, and we know that traditional ways don't always work. So we give opportunities for that. But she just broke the door down, basically, and got in here. I'm telling y'all, my door's not broken, but next door, the glass is broken. She didn't do that, but that was somebody else who did that. But a way to do it is just have a good product, and we're reaching out to people as quickly as we can to get people support as it relates to individual authors and all those types of things. We do have an event that's coming up in the fall to support independent authors, and that's already posted on our website. We're going to be taking in books starting in July to talk about those things, and we'll discuss more about what that's going to look like. But for now, this is what we're going to add to our book. We will not be open next weekend. I'm going to share that. That is Juneteenth celebration, but we have other events that we are attending as it relates to Juneteenth. So, and what I didn't want is to stifle any of our members of our team to just be here when all of us have been asked to do some very important things in the community. Typically, I don't like to be closed on Juneteenth, but I think that what we're doing and some of the causes that we're going to support are relevant and important enough for us to be able to support that. So we will not be here next Saturday, and I am going to officially put that on the website so people know we will be closed next Saturday, but we are here on Monday and Tuesday, and during our bookstore hours. And again, this weekend we'll put this link on our website so that you guys can support the sister. This is a good way to give back to the community, okay? So how can we support each other? This is a good way to do that. This looks like an amazing book. I have yet to read it. Like I said, she just walked in the door. We have not practiced this at all. She came in looking flustered. I said, go to the bathroom, do your makeup. We're going live. This heat. Yes. So let's pray for everybody who has to walk out there in the heat. And my son is out there, so y'all be praying for my little buddy. He works at Six Flags. So I'm waiting on a phone call while he gets on break, because I need to hear from him. And we're going to see if he works tomorrow. I don't know, tomorrow may be a sick day for him.
Oh my goodness, I don't blame him.
I better say that I'm live, right? So we'll see what it looks like. All right, everybody. Love you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you for your time. Latasha, thank you for coming up in here.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, this works for you?
It works for
All
me.
right.
Thank
All right.
you.
Now you're flying back, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, now driving. I just want to
No,
make
I'm
sure.
flying.
Okay, she's headed back to Las Vegas. So
Yes.
there's not a black on
Different kind of heat. Different kind of
That's
heat.
a dry heat.
Right.
It's not a black-owned bookstore in Las Vegas. I'm gonna have to go out there and see if we can do this. Go start this up over there in Las Vegas.
Right.
All right, everybody, we're gonna shut it down and end it. And thank you all so much for your time. Thank you for the hearts. Share this with some other people that you know. And thank you for the love, and your kindness. As always, be careful and take care of yourself. We'll be back real soon. God bless.